Good afternoon, world. It's moments past noon in Waxahachie, Texas, deep in the heart of the Lone Star State. And today is October 22nd. And you're watching, listening to, viewing the 11th episode of Grit and Good News. We're broadcasting live from our palatial studio here in the second story studio in downtown Waxahachie, Texas, in the shadows of the Ellis County Courthouse. And I'm your co-host, Jeff Lynch, and it gives me great pleasure and honor to introduce our host, my friend, Scott Brooks.
Brother, thank you very much. Welcome, everyone, to Great and Good News. Jeffrey, thank you. It's always good to be with you.
Always great.
Yes, and thank you for being with us. This is as you just heard, our 11th show. We're here every Tuesday and Thursday from noon until 1 o'clock. You can find us on Facebook, Twitch, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube all at the same time. And there are more. Some of those platforms are getting more viewers than the others, but right now we're growing and we're pleased about that. This show is about you and about a conversation and about allowing us to express our opinions in a fun, safe, thoughtful, critical thinking sort of way, which is what we really need in this country. So thank you for being here, Jeff. Jeff and I are buddies, and Jeff's a critical thinker, a wonderful thinker, really adds a lot to this show. And sometimes
Easy, boy, easy.
We don't even know what the other's going to say, which is what we want. Because what's that old thing about if two people always agree, only one of them is needed, right?
That's correct. And you know what? We really, if you're watching this for more than your first time, that tells me that you like it. And I hope what you like is that we like doing this. We genuinely enjoy our time with you.
Yeah, we do. And it's something natural. We don't have to sit in our office or my office for, 2 days in a row to plan every word. It just comes out the way it comes out. These are real, authentic feelings, which is what we want to hear from you. The other day, last Thursday, we had an issue, I think, with Facebook, it being on Facebook Live, I think. So we're trying to figure out we don't think that's happening today. If it is, please let us know. But we want to make sure that you can access the show easy. You can call in. Our number is above still beautiful, despite us having 2 losses already this year, above Big Al the elephant. And Jeff will tell you the number you can call in on.
It's 972-268-9441. That is 972-268-9441.
So let's talk about an interesting race that's happening right here in Texas, but on a national scale. We have Ted Cruz, who's been in office since 2013 as a United States Senator, running against Colin Allred, who is a U.S. representative for 32nd District in Texas, which is up in the Metroplex a little bit north of Dallas. It covers parts of Garland, Denton, and that Carrollton up in that area. Colin Allred is a Democrat. Ted Cruz obviously is the Republican. What's interesting about Ted Cruz and his races every 6 years is that one, it goes by a lot quicker than.
Yeah.
I mean, it just seems like just the other day he and Beto were going at it. But when he ran the last time, Beto came very close to winning that race, which is a mystery unto itself. But there's always a lot of meat on the bone, as it were, with Ted Cruz and the races that he finds himself in my opinion.
Yeah, and there's a lot on the line for Colin Allred because as Scott said, Senate every 6, House of Representatives every 2. That's why you got people like Nancy Pelosi, all kind of long-term senators.
Right.
Colin first won in 18, so he won it in 18. He won it in 20. He won it in 22. He probably had a pretty good shot here at 24, and he must really think he can win the Senate, or he give up what he's doing. I guess Senate is arguably more prestigious.
But I think the pay is the same, and the other
but that's not our issue. I just wanted to
but
talk
it's a
about,
good point. I mean, the pay's the same. If I had my choice, I would much prefer to be a senator. I don't want to have to campaign every 2 years. It seems like to me that it's a perpetual campaign.
It is.
It's the same thing we have here with many of our local races that they only serve 2 years. But Ted Cruz and Colin Allred are going at it. Suffice it to say, had a debate last week. I watched a little bit of it. I turned it off after I realized once again it's platitudinal. It's really short on specifics. These platitudes of it's like Allred being asked if he or being said that he supports men or boys in women or girl sports. Him just saying kind of just a blanket. I don't want men playing in the women's sports. Well, but you voted differently than that, right?
Right.
So when that was just repeated, I'm like, I don't have time to sit and watch this nonsense. But really, it boils down to Ted Cruz being Ted Cruz, which Ted Cruz has plenty of platitudes. Cruz is above average intelligent. He's a great debater. He knows his stuff. He can drive me to drink, so to speak, sometimes. But uh, and right now, I think at least the polls I've looked at, which I really don't want to focus in on polls, but he's up between 1% and 7%. Go figure that. Uh, but there are others who believe Allred is primed to win this thing. And I'll tell you, the Dallas Morning News, Fort Worth Star Telegram, San Antonio, and I believe a Houston paper have all endorsed Allred. And that's a little bit, in my opinion, unusual. Now, I'm not endorsing Allred. I'm endorsing Ted Cruz, largely because of what we're going to talk about here, which is
Let's go.
Colin Allred voted for the Equality Act. In the Equality Act, it says that transgendered, I always get this backwards. If a woman is going to transition to a man, it's called a transgendered man, right? I think it's what they.
They name it by the finished product.
Okay, yeah,
If it's what?
that's a good way to put it.
Sorry.
That's good. So, but the Equality Act says that he voted for it. So Colin Allred is okay with biological men, playing in biological female sports. That's what he agreed to, and he can sit and say that he doesn't want men playing in girl sports, but that's not how he voted. Same thing applies to his vote of the Equality Act, which includes taxpayer-funded transgender surgeries for inmates. Both of which I don't have to know anything else about Colin Allred. He may have saved, 10 elderly ladies this past week or helped them cross the street. He might have given to, our cat fund over here to help support our new cat sanctuary.
Feral.
Yeah, feral cats. I'm talking about at the site.
Domesticated feral cats
Yeah,
is what we got here.
exactly. So, but if anyone out there is voting for or is in favor of a biological man playing in a biological women's sport, I'm done with them. I'm done. It's ridiculous. It's wrong. It's unethical. It's opposite of normal, which is abnormal, right? Isn't it?
Yes.
Your thoughts?
Well, I preface my thoughts by saying this. In my immediate family, I have all manner. I don't have the whole LGBTQ alphabet, but I do have gay. I do have lesbian. I do have bi. And you know what? I don't understand it, but I accept it because all three of the people I'm referring to, and if I go farther in my family, it's an even bigger number.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, they're all good, loving people,
Yeah.
and they're all Christians with good hearts and good souls. And so I don't have to understand it. They don't have to understand my love for hockey. Okay. And that's kind of minimizing it. And I probably shouldn't have used that as an analogy. But the point is, I don't understand it, but I accept it. But here's what it is with trans that I don't really understand. Well, there's a lot of things I don't understand. But let me ask you this. All these, I think it is in many cases been driven by the media. And we have not had the ability for people to make a trans change until very recent time. I haven't
Right.
looked it up, but what was the story with people that felt this way before? Did they just live kind of in
I
angst
guess
and
they
in
did. Yeah,
turmoil?
I think they did.
And my related question is, who are the doctors that do this? If doctors hadn't stepped up and said, "Well, we got a way we're going to do this, and we're going to do all this with the drugs first, and then we're going to do slice and dice and make it happen," who who are those doctors,
Yeah,
and where did they
good
ever
question.
get that way?
Yeah,
And then I go back to, I think it is somewhat media driven. And when I heard the other day that 1.3% of high school students identify as trans, I'm going, I'm having a hard time believing how that has come about.
yeah. Well, it is. It's a bit of a mystery, and I to answer your questions, in my opinion, how trans people prior to what the past 3 or 4 or 5 years, when it was really not ever discussed, how they abided in life and lived is a mystery insofar as you didn't hear anything about them. And I assume they lived kind of on the down low, on the QT, or on the kind of incognito. Um, there are
Closeted.
yeah, yeah, there are 1.6 million roughly transgender people in the United States of America right now, which is an infinitesimally small number. Yet
Which does not add up with the 1.3% of high school
yeah, I don't know
students.
how many high school students there are in America, but that seems like a bigger percentage. But the the idea that we're talking about it has become such an issue for such a very small number of people is another thing that drives me crazy, because the narrative in the greatest country on the planet is often controlled by the smallest number of people. It's that old tyranny of the minority. And so the issue for me is, if we love women, when I say we, I'm talking about everybody, not just men, but if and we have all sorts of people out there who are feminist, meaning that they want to protect women's rights and they want this for women and that for women. I'm all for those people. But then to turn around and say, well, it's okay that a biological man, uh I just shared with you earlier a story about the golfer who's now said, I was born a man, I'm transitioning, but I can hit the ball longer and farther and all those things. He said it's not fair. I'm going to stop. I'm not going to pursue my dream, as it were, because it's unfair to the women. Where in femininity or in the feminist movement, where are those people who would say it's unfair to women? It's no different than paying women less for a job than you do a man. It's no different than to say, well, it is different if you say it's not okay for that, but it's okay for a man to be in women's swimming and thereby win all the meets. It just something's screwed up.
That's why almost every sport has a men's and women's. Women's swimming, tennis, gymnastics,
Yeah,
track and field. You go down the list, and you go to team sports. You know, there's now women's football. There's great women's hockey now.
right.
There's women's basketball. Uh, there's a reason you have two genders
Yeah.
in these
Well,
sports.
I wrote a column probably last year or a year before that said, well, if transgender allowing men, biological men, to play in women's sports is okay, then why do we need the NBA? Why do we need the WNBA? Why do we
Right,
need
right.
any type? Just say it's football or it's basketball and let everybody play. And for those of us who think that it's somehow fair, and we got people like Megan Rapinoe, the clown at the soccer, who's all for women, biological men playing in women's sports, and we have a number of others out there doing the same. You know how, just a picture the Lakers saying, "Okay, we're going to play the team." The NBA, WNBA just had its finals, and I can't remember who won, but Minnesota
The
Lynx,
Liberty beat the Lakes.
Liberty is
Yeah.
okay. Yeah. So imagine the Lakers playing the Liberty. It would be over in the
R-
first minute.
right.
And so
And if you said we're only going to have one of each one of these sports, I mean, I can't imagine many sports where women would end up winning the spot on that team,
yeah,
and so that would be a travesty too.
yeah,
I mean,
and I think Serena Williams is the one who she may have actually played a, a, a male tennis player and got her fanny stomped and admitted. I mean, admitted that
Billie
he's
Jean King,
had,
she whipped Bobby Riggs
yeah,
in the Houston
yeah, remember that a
Astrodome
long time ago.
a long time ago.
So the thing for me is I don't want Colin Allred in office. I don't want him in the office he's got now if he's that woke, because woke is killing this country. It's one of the ailments that's killing this country. I I I like Ted Cruz. I think he's smart and passionate and energetic, and he can call it the way he sees it. He's effective on Capitol Hill. He can get a little bit grindy, if just like enough already. But the Waxahachie Sun is endorsing Ted Cruz for sure. And
Well, you're not having a column on Senate
no,
endorsement. No,
no, we're not. Well, I endorsed Trump last week, but
right. I
that's
know
it.
that. Okay.
That's it. So, but we just wanted to share with you some just a take on what's going on with Allred and Cruz. We'll see 2 weeks from today is election day.
The
So
people will decide.
people decide. All right, I want to share with you. We have two sponsors that we've already told you about in past shows. I'm excited to tell you, though, we will be announcing on Thursday our third sponsor. Very excited about that. So we have that kind of support and means a lot to us. Sammy, we're still not getting any comments, so I don't know what the issue with. I don't know if Facebook. Okay. Uh, so I can see on Instagram we got folks there. So hello, Instagram friends. Any comments you have, please share them with us. But our show is one of our sponsors is Cancun's Tex-Mex restaurant out on 77, just about 2.5 miles north, 287 on the west side of 77. It's in front of about 300 yards in front of Atwoods, and Cancun's is one of our favorite restaurants. We love it. Great ambiance, great food, great people, good service. Uh, Relatively still new building, but they got great food. So the menu covers the spectrum: breakfast, lunch, dinner. They right now on our new app, which is called, what's our app called? Our app, Down Home. That's right, Down Home. So if you don't have
Down.
Down Home, the app about Waxahachie, it is called Down Home. So you can go on the Google Play Store, you can go on the Apple Store. You'll see the little DH is kind of a blue, kind of almost the color of my shirt. Download it. There's a coupon section there. You can get a coupon for free order of sopapillas at Cancun's if you spend $20 or more, which you will. I don't think there's any place you can go in today's world.
That was FOR, not FOUR.
Huh? What did I say?
The way you said it sounded like you got.
Oh no, you don't get. You spend $20, you get one order of sopapillas at Cancun's. But when I say you'll spend $20, it's not because
Yeah.
Cancun's is expensive. I hate to admit this, but Friday night we went to the football game over here, and I hadn't had McDonald's in ages. And so I said to Sonia, "Where do you want to go?" And so let's just go, get fast food, go home and hang with the dogs. So we went to McDonald's.
Was Donald Trump working the
Yeah,
fries?
yeah,
No,
right.
I
That's a
wasn't here.
great
I wasn't
story.
here.
But you know how much it was at McDonald's for two of us? $23.
My wife and I went to Jack in the Box and got 2 sourdough jacks and 1 Dr. Pepper, and it was $16.85.
There's inflation for you, so it's impacting everybody. But at Cancun's, you'll spend $20, and when you do, you get a free order of sopapillas. So tell them that you heard it here on Great and Good News. Go to the Down Home app. You'll see right there, right on the first page, homepage. You'll see coupons. Just download it, click it, and you'll have it and be ready to go. All
And
right.
we're going to go all the way from Cancun's to Israel.
Oh yes, Israel. So I Jeff is aware, obviously, of world events. It's hard to not be if you're going to do a talk show. What I will tell you, for me, I wrote a column last year about Israel and about the phenomenon that Israel is, and I want to hear you more than I want to hear me about it. But I do want to set it up by saying that we know in the Bible, God makes it clear that He is always going to protect Israel. Israel is blessed by God. Israel sits in the Middle East. Its east is Lebanon. To its north is Syria. To its south is Egypt, I believe. And to its west is the Mediterranean Sea. So everywhere around it are enemies. And it is a small country. It's a little bit bigger a million or so bigger than the Metroplex. Its capital is Jerusalem. Jerusalem is about an hour from Gaza Strip, where all the
Been around since Jesus walked the
that's
earth
right. But the Gaza Strip is
and before.
an hour from Jerusalem. To the north is about 15 minutes is Tel Aviv. No, no, not Tel Aviv. The other hot spot in Israel. I can't remember it right now. But anyway, so Israel is bombarded literally every single day with missiles and bombs and whatever else, the hell's demons, and yet continues to thrive and produce and defend and is they're bad, you know what's over there. Uh, what do you think that what makes them so capable?
I'm going to give you a little something before I give you that
Okay,
answer.
all right.
And I remember when my son Carl, who's 41 years old now and an attorney, and he came home from school in first grade, and he came in the door and he said, "Hey, Mom, Pop, um, we've got a Jewish boy in our class." We said, "Well, that's very nice." And he says, "Do we have to like Jews? You know, they killed Jesus."
Mhm.
I go, "Yeah, you know, but Carl, can I tell you something? Jesus was a Jew." "What do you mean he was a Jew?" He was a Jew, and it always reminds me. I think I finally got it figured out, but I always struggled with trying to sort out the differences between Jewishness as a race and Jewishness as a religion, because there are both of those things.
Yeah.
But it really started out as a race, and it leads us to how Israel was officially created right after World War II, recognized as a country. But let's remember this: God said to Abraham, according to Genesis, that, that your people will be the promised people,
Mhm.
and they will have a promised land. And that's how how Israel ended up. Ultimately, it was fulfillment of the need for them to have a promised land. Now, back to the question about their strength and power. So I go back to Adolf Hitler, and he hated the Jews, as we know.
Yeah.
I mean, that was like, of all the bad things he did, it was the treatment of the Jews that really started it.
Mhm.
And you know why he didn't like them?
Mm.
He didn't like them because they were smart. He didn't like them because they had money and they had economic control.
Mhm.
Okay. And to answer your question about how they continue to survive, it's
Yeah.
because they're smart and they know how to take care of their money.
Yeah. I mean, it is phenomenal when you think about. I mean, there's the kind of raw, brutal force
Right.
of having arms and bombs and missiles and
Smart money,
planes and
smart
ships, and
money.
they can in that the rawest just brawny. They have that going for them, and they don't mind using it. And Netanyahu has said, essentially, I think he said what I would say, and that is, I think what you want to in America, think what you want to around the world. We're going to defend our people, and that's the end of it.
And
And
and,
we
it,
don't care what
and
the
if you've been picked on forever,
yeah,
you got a
yeah.
chip on your shoulder, and you're gonna say no mas, man.
Yeah, no doubt. So I think they have that raw, brutal force. But what's amazing to me is that they just evidenced by them killing this guy, the way it's written, sounds like Yahya Sinwar is his name. I know they said the first part of it different, but he was buried in a tunnel under the ground, living and in Gaza, and
And never wanted to
these
come up.
no, he didn't. But they found him, and I mean, I don't know if you've seen the video, but it shows Israeli Defense Forces, the IDF, which is what they go by, walking into a it's ostensibly, which is one of my favorite words, into a living room, and there is Sinwar sitting in a chair. He ought to have been injured. Did you
And,
see it?
yeah, and one of the rare chances where he came out of his cotton picking moleholes.
Yeah, and so
You know,
but it just but then you add to the fact that they can find anybody anywhere, because when Trump was in office, he killed Suleiman, if you remember that, our military did. But just a month ago, Israel figured out how to make beepers, pagers detonate.
Smart.
It just blows my mind. And so I say to myself, these guys in Iran, these mullahs or whatever you want to call them, in other parts of the Middle East, what is it going to take for you to realize you're not going to beat Israel? They're smarter than you. They're better than you. They're strategic. They know where you are, and they're going to win. The Bible tells us they're going to win.
And there, Sharon's got it. They also survive
Yeah.
because God is with them. How many times in the Bible do we see utter defeat when God was within
That's right.
the battle?
So that's my point. We know the story for Israel, how the story is going to continue and end for Israel. They will be victorious.
Yeah.
So I just when I see our so-called leaders over here, either like Harris not showing up to attend a Netanyahu speech, or vacillates between trying to support the Palestinians, which I'm not for any innocent soul being injured or killed. I'm not. War that's what happens in war. But when our so-called leaders start playing games with Israel and Palestine and the Gaza Strip and all that, I'm done with them. And it's that story about Trump, and I think you've heard those maybe around Trump's told the story, but those around him that were with him told the story of how he was meeting with the leader of Hamas uh, back when he was in office, and showed him a picture and said, "Here's this picture," and the guy looked at it. It was the guy's house, home, and Trump said, "Don't mess with us." I'm paraphrasing, but don't mess with us. We know where you live. If that's not a deterrent, I don't know what is. So, but we don't have that anymore going for us.
Right.
We have members of Congress who are anti-Semitic. We have universities that are allowing anti-Semitism on their campuses, and yet Israel is our strongest, best ally in the region. And so I wanted to just share it with you that we're watching a country not much bigger than the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex defend itself in so many different ways, and that is going to be victorious, and has been, because it's not just recently this all started. It's been going on for decades.
Right.
And when we think and we hear about Netanyahu and all these things said about him, nobody's perfect. But Netanyahu, in some ways, is like Trump. Because if that were happening to America, I believe Trump would be doing the same thing. Say, literally, I know where you live. And Trump said in a off the cuff, you know how he is, one day, where he said, if Iran or those countries do to us what they're doing to Israel, he said, I'll blow them off the face of the earth. I don't care. And I believe him.
They need the bumper sticker like "Don't mess with Israel."
Yeah, exactly. Like, don't mess with Texas.
That's my point. Yeah.
So there you go. We just need to keep our eye on that, but realize that Israel is not really that big, and it's battling for its life every day. All right. Our second sponsor, Jeff, is going to tell you a little bit about.
I pulled out the wrong notes here. I pulled out the wrong notes, but I can work without my notes other than the phone number.
Sammy can call it up.
Go ahead and tell him one more thing.
Yeah. So we have. Well, I'll just share with you. We're going to talk about Mr. Rooter, a new. Well, it's not new, but a plumbing company here in Waxahachie is our other sponsor, and Jeff has his notes. Tell you all about it, how to reach them. We're very thankful for Mr. Rooter.
All righty. So when you deal with Mr. Rooter, here's what you're getting. You're getting a company that does both residential and commercial work. And you're getting a company that has offices all over North America, yet still has local ownership. And they've been around since 1970. So, 54 years of taking good care of people all over North America, and local ownership. I mean, that's a strong start. And what it really boils down to is you're going to get licensed experts. You're going to get insured plumbers. You're going to get guaranteed parks and workmanship. Courteous, uniformed professionals, locally owned and operated, and convenient appointment times. And they're going to be friendly and warm with every client. They're going to arrive on time, keep your home clean with mats and shoe covers. They're going to provide a price before they start, deliver high quality, durable repairs, and stand behind their work for your peace of mind. I mean, what else could you ask for? So the few times that you're going to need a plumber in your home's lifespan, after you've had them there once, you'll have them there before. And guess what? If they take care of your plumbing, take care of your toilet, they take care of your leaky drain, and then eventually you say, you know what? I'm tired of looking at this same bathroom that we've been looking at forever, dear. Let's get it remodeled. They'll
They
take
do
care
that
of
too.
remodeling. They don't remodel your whole house,
Yeah,
but
just the bathroom.
but they're gonna make it a whole new
That's a big
place.
deal to people.
It is a big deal.
Yeah.
It's a big deal.
And how do you reach them?
Well, the way you reach them is at 469-214-5179. That is 469-214-5174. You can go to the internet that Al Gore invented, and you go to the mighty www.mrrooter.com/Waxahachie. If you don't have that / you could get Tucson or New York City. So
Make sure I get Waxahachie.
get it right. Get them there. You'll be happy.
Very
Amen.
good. Yeah, Al. We should be so thankful for Al Gore. He created the internet. He's saving us from the sea rising. He and
Yeah.
Obama, all that.
And he finally gave up on the election with the
in 2000.
hanging Chad, and he let it
Yeah.
go finally.
Imagine that. All right, so Sammy's going to show you a clip here now. Sammy, do you also have Vance? Did you get that one? Okay. So over the weekend, it was on Sunday, I believe, or maybe it wasn't, but it was over the weekend. Kamala Harris had a rally, and in that rally, something was shouted, and we want to let you hear it, and you can see. Well, you can actually see it and hear her response. So Sammy's going to
And wait till you
show
see
it to
this,
you.
because I'm going to tell you what. I think you got that off of Fox.
Not sure where I got it.
You're not going to find it on the nightly news.
Yeah, you won't. I didn't get it off the standard sites.
But it's the real deal.
Yeah. So listen to this, and then we'll chat about it.
Oh, you guys are at the wrong rally.
Can we go back to the very beginning? Did you get the very beginning, Sam? Let's see. Yeah, just start it maybe. Yeah. Okay.
Let me first play this clip through.
Oh, you guys are at the wrong rally.
Sammy, stop it one second. So the reason she said that is somebody from the crowd
shouted. There were two people shouted.
Well, they had
Jesus is Lord. Yeah, and I think the other one was something like Christ is King.
Jesus is Lord.
Jesus is Lord. And so when Harris heard it, she said, "You're at the wrong rally," which I don't. I mean, Trump was holding a rally also. So I guess what Harris is saying is that if you believe that Jesus is Lord, you're not welcome in my sphere of influence or my world.
Go ahead.
Certainly my rally. Was there any more to it, Sam?
Clip through.
Okay, one more time.
Oh, you guys are at the wrong rally.
Okay.
No, I think you meant to go to the smaller one down the street.
Yeah, so imagine the what's the void or the depth of whatever it is that would cause you to say when you hear somebody scream, yell, Jesus is Lord, tell them essentially that that's not welcome here, that you're at the wrong place. Imagine what it's like to be that kind of person. And then one thing before you share your thoughts, the very next day, which was yesterday, at another rally, J.D. Vance was speaking, and you could hear this one even more clearly. Someone shouted, "Christ is King." And he stopped and he looked behind him, which is where it came from, and said, "You're right, Christ is King." And carried on. So you can't have a bigger contrast than that, a greater contrast. But imagine what's wrong. What is wrong with a party or the leader of a party who's willing to say that?
it's beyond comprehension, and it's amazing that was not on mainstream media. That, on the nightly news, they're always going to give a lot of focus to what's going on in the campaign trail between those two, and they managed the little joke that Donald Trump made about Arnold Palmer being well equipped, and we're not talking about the golf
Yeah.
bag, and you know when you're flippant, you get yourself in trouble.
Yeah, if you,
And it has to do with somebody who can't think on her feet. And she you could ignore that person. You don't even have to acknowledge that person making a comment from the crowd. But when you make that kind of a statement, and then you distance yourself from Christianity completely, I wish there'd been publicity about it, because I think any God-fearing, God-believing Christian who heard that would never want to give her a
yeah,
vote.
thank goodness for conservative talk shows and radio and little tiny shows like ours, because we're not going to keep something like that uh, pushed aside. The idea, I mean, it comes on the heels or happened at around the same time that she didn't show up for the dinner, Hal Smith dinner in New York, that is Catholic, for Catholic charities, and a very big deal. It's been happening every election cycle for decades and decades. The last time that a candidate for president on either side didn't show up was in 1984 with Mondale, who didn't show up. Mondale then ended up losing a couple of weeks later in a landslide, the worst loss in presidential elections. And so Kamala Harris decides she's not going to go, which I really want to know the reasons. The reasons she might give is because we're scheduled or what have you. However, the reasons are is because it's a place where you put politics aside, and you just have fun gigging each other, and Trump was good at it. But Kamala Harris instead did a remote uh, video. In it, she had a skit from Saturday Night Live character about Catholics. And so to make matters worse, it was kind of a 1-2 punch. You're at the wrong rally if you believe Jesus is Lord, and we're going to make fun of Catholicism by just making Catholics look whatever, weird, goofy, strange. It's just an awful thing. Sonia says, I don't understand how people who call themselves Christian can support her. I don't either.
That's the point.
Yeah, and I mean, people get mad when you say, well, if you're a Christian, how could you support Kamala Harris or anybody who promotes those
Yeah,
values?
yeah.
Or I say the same thing about well, where do you draw the line? Colin Allred supports men and women's sports and taxpayers paying for surgeries of transgender people. Does the same thing apply to him? Can you say, how can you be a Christian and support Colin Allred because of what he supports or values? That's a little bit more gray area, but when it comes to stuff like this, how can you be a Christian?
Sharon says, I have often said you can't vote Democrat and claim to be Christian. Their platforms are everything Christianity isn't.
It is a challenge, and this show isn't intended to bash one party over another.
No,
we are
isn't.
here to say we're going to call it as we see it. And for a presidential candidate of the Democrats in this case to say you're at the wrong place, God isn't welcome here, and make fun of Catholicism at the expense of people at a dinner is just, it's abhorrent.
Well, and part of her distancing has to do with her abortion support, and I'm opening up a can of worms here, but I will say this: I can't think of anything much more unchristian than killing a baby in its womb. And people can say, well, when does life start, or when is it done start? You know what? You're not pulling a marble out of somebody when you do an abortion, and nobody is saying that a little zygote is a full human being. We know that's why it takes 9 months to develop in the womb, but the end product of what's in that womb is a living, breathing child, and you're taking away that. What has happened to Christianity in terms of their support for the unborn? That is really
Well,
that's missing big time in this election. And if I can tell you what, if Trump doesn't win, I'd say that the Christians didn't do a good job of standing up.
Yeah, I think we have a lot at risk here. I will say that the great thing about Christianity, the great thing about Jesus, one of the great things about Jesus and God is that we can be horrible people at some points in our life or at a point in our life and still realize that what we did was not what we should have done and be a Christian. So I know, listening to us, there are people in the world who have in their family, whether they're male, female, could have been a boyfriend and girlfriend, had an abortion. They're Christian today. They regret that choice. What we're talking about here is a concerted effort, a drive, if you will, to make sure that abortion is a top priority. It's almost like you are advocating your whole Planned Parenthood. How much more demonic can you be? Don't give me this crap about, oh, they offer mammograms and they do this crap. They are an abortion provider, period. They may do a little other things, but doctors can also do that stuff. But Planned Parenthood is demonic, in my opinion. So anyway, anything else?
Well, and I also saw on the news that there's a big push for making birth control pills part of insurance plans that companies will provide.
Yeah.
And the whole contraceptive world is so broad, and the ability to still have sex and not have a baby is pretty good. It's not 100% guaranteed, but it's pretty good. But then I saw it just turned me up when I saw this. I saw they were showing all the different types of contraceptives that would be there, and then one of them was the morning after pill.
Right.
And so now
it's just it's a sorry place that we found ourselves when we have one presidential candidate, and Trump's not perfect. I recognize that. But when we have a candidate who's willing to be outward, I mean, there's no hiding that her feelings. Obviously, if you believe
Right.
Christ is Lord, you're not welcome at my rally, is what
Right.
she said. So
Right.
anyway, there you have it. All right, what time is it, Sammy? Oh yes, I have often said. Yeah, we already read that. Yeah, so that's okay. So what time is it, Sam? And you have a poem that kind of fits, don't you?
I was able to get through. What do we got going on there? Who's typing?
Well,
You're making all kind
we
of
got to work
racket.
on our timing, I think. But Sammy just threw a pass to a receiver that already fell down.
All
right.
I try to give a little I've pretty good luck so far in our 11 podcasts in trying to find something timely in my book of poetry, Latest Hindsights, which is my third book of poetry. When you got 74 poems in there and 4 of them are about hockey, then that leaves 70 poems to be about a lot of different other things.
That's right.
And I write about whatever crosses my mind, whatever inspires me to write. And one day, if you remember, the Cowboy Poet Gathering that our man David Smith has put on the last couple of years, it was out at Chautauqua, and I had the privilege of being able to go do an open mic, and I wanted to go check out the building, and I went out there the night before, and I heard his band just kind of jamming away in there, and I popped my head in there, and I stand around, and when they finished up this song, I said, I talked to the guy. He goes, "Well, we're a Christian band, and we're warming up for a big what do you call it? Not a jamboree, a big revival.
Oh yeah,
We're having a big revival." And I said, "Well, what denomination are you?" He said, "Well, we're an evangelical, non-denominational band, a group." And I said, "Oh, that's wonderful." I said, "I'm a Catholic, but I'm going to tell you what. As far as I'm concerned, there's just one Jesus." And he said, "That's how we feel too."
Yeah.
Okay. And so I went home I started writing a poem, and as you might guess, it's called "There's Just One Jesus."
That's right.
And as I like to say,
Let's
it goes
hear it.
something like this: There's just one Jesus, though many stake a claim, born without a fuss, given a heavenly name. An expression with an interesting flavor is Lord Jesus, my personal
Savior.
Savior. He's done us all a real big favor. Jesus talked quite a bit about the simple golden rule. If you refuse to believe it, you're Satan's hateful tool. Such a lack of love by those who feel above the feelings of others, even their sisters and brothers. Yes, love conquers all. Jesus made this call. In a world without electricity, yet quite full of animosity, Jesus taught us right from wrong. He showed us how to get along. Just try a little love, said the man from above. Now more than ever, let's strive to never forget just one rule, the simple Christ-filled tool.
Amen.
Amen.
There's but one Jesus. Very good. I like that.
There's
Yeah,
just
very
one.
good.
There's just one. My Baptist brother, there's just one.
This one.
God
Yes,
bless
for
you.
sure. All right. So now we do our fun segment. Well, we hope they're all fun and informing, but this one is intended to be both fun and educational, right?
Fun and
So,
educational.
and that is our This Day in History segment. You're welcome to participate. Sharon's already called up Google, so she's getting ready.
Sam's got the rules up.
Sammy's
Okay.
got the rules up. So
You get one for getting it right. You lose
Yep.
one if you get it wrong. You get a bonus if you hit it right on the number.
And I've been on a roll, but I think I'm up against it this week.
You're up against 8-0 this week.
Yeah, so Jeff does this.
8-0 today.
Yeah, so Jeff does this with his wife every morning, and then brings the same things to here to question us. So usually I hang in there, but 8-0, that's gonna
8-0.
be tough. So let's hear it.
And I 3 times I missed it by 1 year. I could have really racked up the doubles.
Yeah,
I
you
do have
could.
one. I do have one double here, and you're going to get that one right too.
Okay.
Okay, oldest to youngest. We start with Sam Houston was inaugurated as the first constitutionally elected president of the Republic of Tejas.
That's right. I'm gonna say 1904.
1836.
Ooh.
Okay.
Ooh, I'm already behind 8
Uh,
ball. Well, I've already lost.
You've already lost.
Anyway,
You
we'll
have
see.
our
Oh well.
bank robber Charles Pretty Boy Floyd was shot to death by federal agents and local police at a farm near East Liverpool, Ohio. Charles Pretty Boy,
Pretty boy.
19 what? 14?
1896.
1934.
Ugh.
Dude,
0 for 2. All right.
get your bonus here and get yourself back to 500. Here we go. In a nationally televised broadcast, President John F. Kennedy revealed the presence of Soviet-built missile bases under construction in Cuba and announced a naval blockade of all offensive military equipment being shipped into the communist island nation. The last year was 34. No, not 1934. 1992.
1961.
1962.
Dang.
Oh,
I was close.
I got my bonus there. Here we go.
All right. Well, yes, you did. That's all right. All right.
Apollo 7 returned safely from Earth's orbit, splashing down in the Atlantic Ocean.
1969.
1969 was the moon landing.
I know, but
That was 11. This was at number 7. That was in 68. But they were banging them up there fast. You know, they had this in 68 and 4 more times.
all right, I'm 2 and 2.
2 and 2.
Yeah.
Okay. The largest gathering of world leaders in history marked the 50th anniversary of the United Nations. 50th anniversary of the United Nations.
What was the last answer? The last year?
68. Try to remember
Yeah,
when the United Nations
70.
started.
78.
Scott, you let me down. 1995,
Yeah,
50 years before that was 45. They started the United Nations
I didn't know
after
when they.
World War
Okay.
II. Okay.
Ugh.
But to stumble into that one, Sam. Good
Yeah.
job. Here we go. Cyclist Lance Armstrong. And this is not a bonus, but who was he married to? Who was the female singer? Was it
Sheryl Crow.
Sheryl Crow. Sheryl
It
Crow.
should be a bonus. Anyway.
I'll throw you a bonus.
All right.
Cyclist Lance Armstrong was formally stripped of his 7 Tour de France victories and received a lifetime ban from Olympic sports after the International Cycling Union chose not to appeal doping charges against Armstrong by the United States Anti-Doping Agency. Well, it happened in your life, surely, yeah.
I'm going to say 2011.
2012 split the difference and you both have it.
You know, I'll
What-
tell you something.
What do you got?
One of the best books I've ever read in my life, and now I wonder if the feelings I had should be legitimate, was written by Lance Armstrong before all of this came to light, called "It's Not About the Bike." An amazing book, because it talked about his fortitude, you know, how he did what he did, and only to find out drugs.
Okay, and was it something he took, or was it the blood doping where they take where they take your blood out and they
I
spin
think
it
it was that.
and they get you your higher plasma and re-inject
I
it?
think it was that.
You know, I don't feel that's as bad as taking the other drugs, and I think that's just using medical science. I mean,
Well, what he did the same thing Pete Rose did, insofar as he continually denied it.
well, that's
And
the issue
so,
there. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, that's a horse of a different color. If you did it, just say you did it. If you didn't do it, then say you didn't do it. But if you're going to say you didn't do it when you did do it, and be obnoxious about it, like Armstrong was, you're going to get the full weight of whatever's coming.
I'll go with you there. But you know, it's ironic that at the blood clinics you can go give blood, or you can do the plasma deal for money.
Right.
I had a brother whose freshman year at University of Wisconsin Madison in Madtown. He did that for money, and I don't know what the rule is. I think you can do it maybe every 10 days.
Is that what it is?
You know,
how much do you get now? Do you
I don't know what you get, but enough. I mean, that was drinking money back then,
Yeah.
and so, but the whole reason that they do that is they use plasma for medical reasons.
Right.
So it seems kind of weird that they would have that.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
agree.
but anyway.
If you're ever out of money and you need to take Kennedy on a date, just go give some plasma. Plasma, like blood. It's they have to draw it out of you, and but blood you don't get money for, but when you give your plasma, you get paid something.
Yeah.
You could look up while we're talking. Look up what do you get for giving plasma? PLASMA. All right, how many we got left?
We got one left. Here we go. Our last one was 2012. So here we go. A gunman shot and killed a soldier standing guard at the War Memorial in Ottawa. That's in Canada. Then stormed the Canadian Parliament building before he himself was shot and killed.
2021.
2014.
Oh, I barely made it.
You got it.
Well, I didn't beat you, man. You did good if you got undefeated.
I rolled pretty strong today.
I was 4-3 today.
$50 is a pretty big deal. I think the way it works is the more often you give it, the higher they give you. You know, because we got you hooked. You know,
if you and Kennedy really wanted to go somewhere nice, you both give. And you can take Jonna with you. You get 3 of them. There you go. So you at least know if you ever, if old dad isn't around, because that's what happens. Just go get plasma.
Okay, there Sharon, you got your 22 there at the end. Good job, Sharon. Okay,
Sharon must not have had access to Google because she didn't do very good today.
Would you leave that woman alone, dude?
All right, so there you go. We've added a new segment to our show called Meme of the Day, and what I hope will happen over time is that people watching will come across a meme, and you can shoot it to me or Jeff, Scott@waxahachiesun.com or Jeff@waxahachiesun.com, and we'll share your meme as the meme of the day. Today we have a meme that, and Jeff's a little less
Hip.
engaged in the social media than I am. Although I've never looked at Instagram. I've never looked at Snapchat. I don't even know if that's around still. I rarely use Facebook anymore, other than about business, because of things we post on there. And Twitch, I've been to Twitch maybe once in my life, but TikTok is the bomb.
Explain exactly what a meme is to me.
A meme is I don't know.
I know I'm dumb, but
a meme is like somebody. It's almost a quote or a funny picture or in a static post.
Okay.
So you'll get, Facebook has them all the time.
Right.
Somebody will come across something and post it, and the memes are
I
usually.
mean, do they always call them memes, or are we just supposed to know they're memes?
You would know it's a meme because it's usually a
in a box.
Yeah, or it's got some art to it or whatever. It's different than you would just say, well, that's just a quote. So the meme today, Sammy, have you got it up? All right, the meme today is Bill Clinton, George Bush, Barack Obama, Joe Biden, and Kamala Harris have held power for 28 of the last 32 years, yet all of them are blaming Trump, all the while claiming they have the answers to America's problems. Weird. Isn't that weird? Trump was in the office 4 years out of the last, 32. And yet he's the reason, he's the blame for the rest of it. I mean, it's incredible. And here's a shameless plug in my column tomorrow. I am going straight at what I believe, who I believe is the real culprit behind America's deep, deep divisions in society today. I'm not going to say who it is, but I'm going to be lit up like a firecracker, I'm sure, but I'm just tired of accepting it.
And may all of you listed there remember this: when I point a finger at you, I'm pointing 3 back at myself.
Yeah, no, that's true.
So
that's true. I think it's interesting that the media has been able to spin things such that the 28 of 32 years, 28 of them have had no impact from the man who's receiving all the blame for whatever ails this country.
And I am aware that we take shots at the media, and you run a newspaper, and the newspaper is media, and this is media that we're doing too. So, we're talking out of both sides of our mouth in some ways.
Yeah,
I do want to say that.
The difference between us and the media that I tend to go after is that we're honest and ethical. We're opinionated, but we're honest and ethical. We don't have any desire to be biased or play games with people. We care about our viewers, our readers, and we're not national. So our impact is small. I wish there was Fox is probably the closest, but Fox wanders off the reservation from time to time, and it drives me nuts. But anyway, so
and although we are national, I do open the show with "Hello World" because there's going to be a time when people across the world are going to be turning in to grit and good news.
That's the hope.
And so let's wrap it up, brother.
Let's wrap it up. So thank you for being with us. Jeff and I will be back this Thursday in 2 days at noon. If you get a chance, read the column tomorrow. We'll be talking about it on Thursday. So, Screams tickets. We're going to go back through all of those who have watched on Instagram, TikTok, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook, and we're going to give away 2 tickets to Screams. These things are like gold. Screams ends November the 2nd, so we're giving away 2 tickets today. All right?
And remember, don't write a check that you can't cash.
That's right.
Boom.